The man who built Lamborghini, out of revenge introduction, power, precision, prestige. When you hear the word Lamborghini, what flashes through your mind? Striking supercars slicing through coastal roads, V12 engines snarling like beasts unleashed, a symbol of unapologetic luxury, fast, loud, and unmistakably Italian. But behind that raging bull lies a story far deeper than design or horsepower. A story built not from boardroom strategy or marketing genius, but from ego, pride, and revenge. This isn't the tale of an entrepreneur chasing profit. It's about a man, a tractor maker, who was dismissed, insulted, and underestimated by Italy's most powerful car maker. And instead of fading away quietly, he made a decision to build a machine so bold, so beautiful, and so brutal, it would roar back louder than any insult. This is the true story of Ferruccio Lamborghini, the man who didn't just build a car, he built a legacy, not to compete, but to prove a point. Humble beginnings, from war to workshop. Ferruccio Lamborghini wasn't born into wealth or luxury. Born in 1916 in a small village near Modena, Italy, a region now known for producing automotive giants. Ferruccio grew up on a farm. His parents were grape farmers, and his early life revolved around soil, sweat, and survival. But Ferruccio had a different obsession: machines. He was fascinated by engines and mechanics from an early age. Instead of taking over the farm, he studied industrial engineering and went on to serve as a mechanic during World War II. Stationed on the island of Rhodes, he repaired vehicles for the Italian Royal Air Force, sometimes building parts from scratch with whatever was available. This wasn't just skill, it was resourcefulness, discipline, and raw engineering talent. By the end of the war, Ferruccio had seen enough of engines to know one thing: he could build better machines than most companies selling them. Even with limited tools, he could craft parts other men threw away, a mindset that would later help him disrupt an entire industry driven by precision and pride. Ferruccio's strength wasn't just knowledge. It was his hands-on ability to make complex things work in the real world, a trait no textbook could ever teach. His mechanical vision combined with post-war grit made him a man capable of transforming metal scraps into machines that redefined post-war productivity. Second, building tractors from scraps. Post-war Italy was broken. Factories were in ruins. Materials were scarce. And yet the need for agricultural equipment had never been higher. Ferruccio saw a gap, and he went after it. Using leftover military parts and scrap metals, he began building tractors for local farmers. In 1948, he officially founded Lamborghini Trattori, a company that rapidly grew into one of the largest agricultural equipment manufacturers in Italy. Within a decade, Ferruccio was no longer a mechanic. He was a millionaire. What set his tractors apart wasn't just performance, it was affordability, innovation, and availability in a market desperate for change. He didn't copy other designs. He reimagined utility, blending raw, war material with Italian craftsmanship. A rare mix of creativity and commercial genius. His tractors became symbols of hope for Italian farmers. Durable machines that turned barren lands fertile, empowering thousands in a nation struggling to rise again. The Ferrari that triggered everything. Ferruccio bought several Ferraris, powerful, beautiful, and bold. They were the pride of Italy. But to Ferruccio, they weren't perfect. They were noisy, harsh, unreliable on long drives. Worst of all, the clutch kept failing. One day after burning through another clutch, Ferruccio took his Ferrari back to the factory in Maranello. But instead of being helped, he was humiliated. Enzo Ferrari, the founder of Ferrari and an icon of the racing world, dismissed Ferruccio completely. According to legend, Enzo said, "Let the farmer stick to making tractors. He has no business driving my cars." That single sentence would ignite a fire Ferruccio never forgot, turning personal insult into industrial revolution. He didn't retaliate with words. He retaliated with engines, ones that would roar louder than any insult hurled his way. That moment wasn't just offensive, it triggered a decision that would shake the foundations of Italy's automotive kingdom for generations to come, creating Lamborghini Automobili, the birth of the raging bull. In 1963, Ferruccio founded Automobili Lamborghini, in Sant'Agata Bolognese, just 20 miles from Ferrari's headquarters. Some called it bold, others called it suicide. Competing with Ferrari in Italy was like opening a pizzeria next to the Vatican. But Ferruccio had something Enzo didn't: the mindset of a customer. He knew what buyers wanted because he was the buyer, and he had the engineering knowledge to make it happen. He hired top-level talent, including engineers who had left Ferrari, fed up with Enzo's dictatorship. He brought in Giacomo Dallara, Franco Scaglione, and Giotto Bizzarini, the man who had designed Ferrari's famous V12 engines. His first creation? The Lamborghini 350 GT. Elegant, smooth, and shockingly refined, it was a revelation. Unlike Ferrari's raw race-bred machines, Lamborghini offered speed without sacrificing comfort. It was a grand tourer, fast enough to thrill, comfortable enough to enjoy. But Ferruccio wasn't done. The Miura, the supercar that changed everything. In 1966, Lamborghini shocked the world with a car that didn't just rival Ferrari, it redefined the entire category. The Miura, sleek, mid-engined, and dripping with sex appeal, the Miura was more than a car. It was a statement. It screamed rebellion against tradition, against expectations, and most importantly, against Ferrari. With its V12 engine mounted sideways just behind the driver, the Miura looked like a spaceship. It wasn't built to race, but it looked faster than anything on the track. Celebrities, royalty, and playboys around the world wanted one. From Frank Sinatra to the Shah of Iran, owning a Miura became the ultimate symbol of taste and power. In one move, Ferruccio Lamborghini had flipped the industry. Ferrari was no longer alone at the top. Philosophy over horsepower. What made Ferruccio's vision different was his philosophy. Enzo Ferrari built cars for racing. Track performance was everything. Road comfort was an afterthought. But Ferruccio built for the driver. His cars were meant for real roads, long drives, luxury, and prestige. He didn't care about racing trophies. He wanted the experience, the feel of speed, control, and class, without compromise. This mindset attracted a new breed of buyer: wealthy, stylish, status-conscious. Where Ferrari screamed performance, Lamborghini whispered power with elegance. The bull had arrived, and it wasn't backing down. Challenges, crisis, and the end of an era. Despite the success, Ferruccio's time in the car business was short. By the early 1970s, the global oil crisis had hit luxury sports car sales hard. People weren't buying V12 monsters anymore. Ferruccio sold off his tractor company. Then in 1974, he sold his controlling interest in Automobili Lamborghini. He stepped away from the company he had created, not in defeat, but by choice. He retired to a quiet life on his vineyard, making wine, far from the spotlight of the automotive world. But the legacy he left behind kept roaring. Lamborghini, under different ownerships and eras, would go on to create icons like the Countach, Diablo, Murcielago, and the Aventador, each one a descendant of Ferruccio's desire to prove a point, a legacy forged in ego. In engine oil, Ferruccio Lamborghini didn't set out to change the car world. He set out to defend his dignity, to silence an insult, to prove that a so-called farmer could do what Ferrari did, maybe even better. What started as revenge became one of the world's most recognizable luxury brands. Today, Lamborghini is no longer just a car. It's a symbol of ambition, defiance, and above all, evolution born from conflict. If Enzo hadn't insulted Ferruccio, the world may never have known the thunder of a V12 Lamborghini. That's the power of ego. When channeled right, it doesn't destroy, it creates. Lamborghini's origin isn't just a business story. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest creations come from personal challenges. Ferruccio Lamborghini didn't wait for approval. He built his own empire, gear by gear, bolt by bolt, driven by fire. And every time a Lamborghini roars down the street, it whispers a message from its founder: never underestimate the man you call a farmer. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. There's a whole world of luxury waiting to be uncovered, and we're just getting started.